Hi guys, and welcome back to the Vice Flies YouTube channel. Today we're going to be tying a winter lure, the first of this new series, and this is just going to be a new series going over different lures that are going to work well in the winter period and spring period. They're normally quite gaudy, flashy lures for still water rainbow trout fishing as well as brown trout, but mostly stocked rainbow trout fisheries. And this is the first lure we're going to be doing. It's a Cutthroat black and green cat's whisker, or you could just call it a Cutthroat black and green lure, which is commonly known as well. And the Cutthroat refers to this orange hackle that's at the front there, which is basically that its throat's been cut. And this is a really effective lure. It's really great stocky bashing lure, normally a point fly, and it can get you to depths on a floating line, as well as being used through the summer as a pulling lure. It's a really great fly. So all you're going to need today is a B175 size 10 with any head of your choice. I like a hot head, purely because it links in with the orange hackle that's at the front of the fly. Makes it look quite nice and similar at the front. There's not too much variation going on. A lot of people do use gold heads or even tungsten beads, something like that. Whatever's your preference is perfectly fine. Then we're going to have some just black Marabou. You're going to want quite a lot of black Marabou because we're going to use quite a thick chunk for the tail because you want a lot of movement. Then for the main part of the body, it's going to be a 9mm chartreuse crystal fritz. This is just going to be slightly UV, don't know if you can see that there. You've got the chartreuse fritz running through it, but it's also got UV strands. That's just good for whether it's sunny or dimly lit. It's really good. Fritz for the main body, and then we've got the orange crystal hackle for the front. This is also 9mm, and it's the exact same brand Flybox crystal hackle there. So you're just going to want to start off by touch and turns, lay down a bed of thread just behind the hot head there. You want to put on, when you're actually putting on hot heads, if you've never done it before, you just want to make sure that the taper is facing forwards, and you'll have the small hole first. This means that it won't be able to come off the eye of your hook there, and it will lay back on the rest of your dress in there. So just come back in line with the hook point. Then we're going to go to our Marabou. You're going to want to take a nice good chunk of Marabou, sort of about a couple inches long, maybe about that there. Then hold it all in one line and tear it along. Then just fold this on top of itself because you want to have it kind of bunched together. So I'll show you what I mean by that. Now I've just bunched that all together facing one way, and that's quite a thick bit of Marabou because this is going to be quite a bulky, gaudy fly. Just cut off the excess at the bottom. Then we're going to slowly wind this in. You want to have it so that it's sitting along the back of the hook, and that it's going to come up level with the eye, and then just very light touch and turns, come up to the back of the hook and then come back down just to lock that in place. Try and make sure you've got it where you want it. Now one thing you want to make sure is don't come too far down the bend of the hook and have it so the Marabou is tilted down the way. You want to try and have it lying straight along the level of the hook so that your fly is going to fish properly. And the next thing you're going to want to do is get your straggle fritz. I'm going to start off with a chartreuse, tie it in again, laying along the back of the fly, just so that you've got it all meeting up in the body, because we want the body to be the same sort of distance away along. You don't want it to be too tapered towards the front. Now just open turns, come all the way back down to the bottom. Now we're actually going to come back up, and then just make sure that that's secure. And this is where we're going to start winding this in. Now there's actually nothing that's in the tail, it's just black Marabou. This is mainly because, well, my favourite method anyway, is because the hackle actually does tend to lie along the back of the tail there, so it does give it quite a lot of sparkle. It doesn't really need anything else. Quite a lot of people do like to put some flash underneath the tail. If you want to do that, it's perfectly fine. Just do that before you lock in your Marabou. But now we're going to do sweeping touch and turn. So every turn, just sweep back that fritz and then go over softly. Touch and turn, sweep back, and make sure with every turn that you are keeping all those fibres laying back, and then you'll have a nice shape to your fly. That fritz will all be facing the same way. Once you end there, don't worry if you feel like you're missing a couple, you will be able to catch it on the next turn. And then we're going to leave enough space for 2 turns of orange. So there's about 5mm of space at the front there. We're just going to do 1 turn to lock it in with a second, And you're going to want to come as close as possible and cut away. Now come in with your orange, trying to make it as easy to tie in as possible. I'm just going to cut the front of that, and then have a turn over to lock that in. A couple more turns just to make sure it's secure, and come up where you think you're going to have those two turns. So that's roughly enough space for me to have one and then have a second to give it that real orange look. Sweep that all back just like that, and then turn it over. That's your first turn, and then pretty much on top of where you've just done that, but slightly forward, as much room as you can give it, get another one in there as well, making sure to sweep all those fibres back. Get another one tucked in right behind the head, sweep all those fibres back finally, then come in and lock that off, trying not to catch any of those fibres. Sweep it all back and go in front of your final turn there. Now that you've done that, you can actually just tie this fly off. That's the fly finished. All we're going to need to do is varnish it once we've cut this off. Make sure to give it as many turns as you feel that that's secure. And now you're just going to come in as close as you can and cut that off. There we go. Now that it's sitting nicely, I can actually finish my tail. So that tail is quite long. Just slightly move the vise so that you can see. And I'm going to want to have it around about half a finger length to the end of my flies. This is the way that I like to judge it, so that you're just taking off the wispy ends pretty much. And that's about the length that I like. Not too long, because if you do have the tail too long, then you will get a lot of quick nips and you won't get solid takes. So anything that you feel like when you're out fishing with one of these, if you feel like you are getting too many nips and not enough proper solid takes, then nipping the tail down can often be the right thing to do. So just finish with your quick whip finish, and most importantly, we're going to give this a dot of varnish at the back of the head. The more secure this tie-in is, the longer it will last, because it's quite often that when you've got something like this, that you're actually going to be catching quite a lot of fish. So the more secure you make your tie-in, the longer it'll last, and the fewer flies you'll have to use or lose, because it is really common to go through quite a few of these when your tie-in's not as secure as it could be. Now if you feel like you've got any of these, there's a couple of fibres here at the front. If you feel like you do have any fibres that you don't like, try and find them and just pluck them off, because that is for me, those ones are just too long and spindly, so I'm just going to cut them down to size, and there we go, that's another one there. Just pull them off just like that, and that is your finished product. Hope everyone enjoyed that, and let me know if you want to have more lure videos or more traditional videos. That's perfectly fine, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks very much for watching, guys.